We'll get right into it here. Unfortunately, the Seahawks would go 1 for 3 at the NFL Honors. The NFL Honors taking place just, I believe, a night or two before the Super Bowl itself takes place. So Geno Smith would win the Comeback Player of the Year award after a quarterback battle in training camp and the preseason. Geno was able to finish out the year, obviously, as a starting quarterback with a 69.8% completion percentage, completing those passes for 4,282 yards and 30 touchdowns against just 11 interceptions in 17 games, in addition to rushing for 366 yards and 1 score. Just before I touch on Tariq Woolen or Kenneth Walker III for the other NFL awards that the Seahawks were nominated for, just to highlight here what Geno was able to do, because there was a lot of discourse about what did Geno come back from, because typically when you think of this award, you think of an injury like a few years ago with Alex Smith or Joe Burrow last year. It's in the very, guidelines for this award from the NFL that if it's not just the injury itself that can play a factor, it's also poor performance the year before. And Geno, from being a guy that was a starter in the Jets organization, wasn't able to pan out there, bounced from teams, was in the Giants, a Charger, and backing up Russell Wilson. I mean, his story has been nothing but miraculous. So this award is more than well earned, and his colleagues, push that sentiment. Anybody who, doubts that, you're just not thinking straight, truthfully. But I digress. So we'll look over here towards Kenneth Walker III and Tariq Woolen. Obviously, both of those two, unfortunately, would lose their respective awards. Woolen loses Defensive Rookie of the Year to Sauce Gardner. Just a small note on Tariq. Well, so a few notes. Tariq Woolen. Woolen gave up less completions than Gardner, had a lower completion percentage against him, gave up less yards, had a lower QBR, more interceptions, and tied for the league lead in interceptions. Had a lower QBR, a defensive touchdown, more fumble recoveries, and a blocked field goal to add to that impressive year. I just think it's a little ridiculous. Brock Heward made a great point in talking about how as the year went on, Woolen's sort of hype around that sort of thing might have died down a bit as, teams started to target him less and less, and Gardner and the Jets kind of gained more traction as the season went on. In addition to the fact that a lot of the voters for things like this are on the East Coast and don't typically watch Seahawks games anyway. So I understand why Woolen was number 4 despite having a good amount of statistics over Gardner, but I digress. And then for Walker, Kenneth Walker III lost Offensive Rookie of the Year to Garrett Wilson. Walker had more first-place votes than Wilson, but because of the way the voting is tallied up at the NFL Honors, Wilson had about 53 second-place votes, and because of how they're spaced out, I think first-place vote gets you 5 points, the second place gets you 3, and a third-place vote gets you 1, and like that. Wilson was able to have a higher point total than Walker and was able to take the award from him. Walker did not fumble at all this season, had 10 total touchdowns, 1,550 yards rushing while missing several games. So again, I digress. It's fine at the end of the day. These awards are whatever. It's cool to see that the Jets were able to take both of those awards for their rookies. Not a knock on their draft class whatsoever, but there was a case to be made that those Seattle rookies should have taken home awards. But at the end of the day, the Seahawks made the playoffs and the Jets did. So I guess there's something for you to hold that over. We'll wrap up with sort of league-related news here on the 10th. Brady made his retirement official. Tom Brady officially fired his retirement letter to the NFL and NFLPA to put comeback rumors to bed. So hopefully we're done with Tom Brady. We'll see about that. He's posting thirst traps on his Instagram now. I don't know what that's about. I know I don't know what's going on with Tom. On the 12th, the Chiefs would win Super Bowl 57. Patrick Mahomes was named Super Bowl MVP just a short while after being named the regular season MVP. Rihanna killed halftime, I'll say that. But that was a great game between two great teams. And, now the work continues for our Seahawks to hopefully get to that sort of mountaintop next year and within the coming years. Also, some other news that came out of that day: Derek Carr is likely to be cut by the Las Vegas Raiders. Carr tells the Raiders he won't accept any trade to any team after meeting with the Saints this last week. The Packers are open to trading Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay will work with the quarterback to facilitate a trade if a request is made after his darkness retreat. If you don't know what that is, I know it sounds silly off the bat. Aaron Rodgers is going to go away for like a week into a cabin or something in the woods and completely isolate himself and try to come to a decision on whether he wants his future to be in the NFL. So that's interesting. I can't knock the guy. I'm not Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see that. But that is your league news around the NFL.